Hi, as a Christian and a Republican, I'd like to correct some misconceptions and misrepresentations in Michael's political ad. First, I'm extremely sympathetic to his condition. My mother was severely disabled from a head injury in a car accident for years before she died, and I have a son with autism. I wouldn't wish their or Michael's disabilities on anyone, and I hope and pray for a cure for all who suffer similarly. But I do oppose federal funding of embryonic stem cell research beyond what President Bush has already supported. I oppose it for the same reason we opposed gaining and using medical knowledge from Nazi prison experiments. Potential medical gain from an ethically or morally wrong process does not justify the gain. I support government-funded stem cell research, as does President Bush, who is the first president ever to authorize government funding for stem cell research. But I don't support embryonic stem cell research because, like many, I believe it requires the taking of innocent life, and that trumps any potential medical gain. Contrary to liberal propaganda, President Bush went even further than many on the right, like myself, would have preferred when he authorized government funding of embryonic stem cell research. The following is from stemcells.nih.gov/policy. You can go and look it up yourself. On August 9, 2001, President George W. Bush announced that federal funds may be awarded for research using human embryonic stem cells if the following criteria are met. 1. The derivation process, which begins with the destruction of the embryo, was initiated prior to 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on August 9, 2001. 2. The stem cells must have been derived from an embryo that was created for reproductive purposes and was no longer needed. And 3. Informed consent must have been obtained for the donation of the embryo, and that donation must not have involved financial inducements. The NIH, National Institutes of Health, is implementing the President's policy. The NIH funds research scientists to conduct research on existing human embryonic stem cells and to explore the enormous promise of these unique cells, including their potential to produce breakthrough therapies and cures. Investigators from 14 laboratories in the United States, India, Israel, Singapore, Sweden, and South Korea have derived stem cells from 71 individual genetically diverse blastocysts. These derivations meet the President's criteria for use in federally funded human embryonic stem cell research. The NIH has consulted with each of the investigators who have derived these cells. These scientists are working with the NIH and the research community to establish a research infrastructure to ensure the successful handling and the use of these cells in the laboratory." End quote. In addition to all that, this administration and Congress has never restricted private funding of human embryonic stem cell research. Michael and his supporters are free to pursue any research they choose. So please, no more lies from the left. The President, this administration, this Congress has never outlawed any funding for stem cell research. This President is the first ever to actually authorize federal funding of human embryonic stem cell research.